Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of my Greek Orthodox Odyssey. It's Wednesday morning and I'm down here at Darling Harbour. It's a beautiful, or what appears to be a beautiful, beginning to a Sydney autumn morning. It's mild. There's just a gentle breeze, and as you can see, the harbour here is like a mirror, reflecting all the beautiful lights of the Sydney CBD. It's truly, truly magnificent. Today what I want to do is I want to translate a video vlog from Elder Nektarios, where he talks about the first resurrection, what the Greeks called Iproti Anastasi, and it's basically talking about what happens on Easter Saturday, or what actually happened between the moment Jesus gave up his last breath on the cross at 3 p.m. on Good Friday and his resurrection on Sunday. So the hours in between his death and his resurrection. And the Greeks, as I said, call this service Iproti Anastasi, the first resurrection service, and it's normally held 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, and that is when the church, in all its wisdom, decided to celebrate this moment, because in reality it's a Esperino service. It's an evening service which should be served, or originally should have been served in the evening at 6 p.m. on the Saturday night. For reasons only known by the church, they decided just to flip it and celebrate this service on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. And I guess it makes sense because it breaks up the days between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, and it gives people an opportunity to have a bit of a break. But it's also a moment that we can focus on and learn a little bit more about our faith. So as we know, according to the scriptures, at 3 p.m. or thereabouts, because in the days of Jesus, we didn't have watches, we didn't have clocks. All we could do is to determine approximately what time of day it was by the positioning of the sun in the sky or the full moon in the sky. So at the 9th hour, which means the first hour is sunrise, so depending on where the sun appeared to be in the sky, approximately at 3 p.m. or the 9th hour is when Jesus dies on the cross, and his soul descends into a place called Hades, which is a Greek word. Hades is a Greek word meaning adio, a place of emptiness, where every soul went to ever since man was expelled from paradise. So the first human to ever die, according to the scriptures, was Abel, the son of Adam and Eve, one of the sons of Adam and Eve, and the brother of Cain. And Cain, according to the scriptures, murdered his brother, who was a shepherd. The first murder, the first death. So when Adam and Eve were expelled from paradise, the doors, the gates of paradise were locked by the Archangel Gabriel and the Archangel Michael, the two archangels who carry swords. So no soul was able to re-enter paradise following the expulsion. So by definition, by not being able to enter paradise and be one with God, to be one with the light, you were condemned, all people were condemned to darkness, to emptiness, and that is the place called Hades, where all the souls went. And were there for forever and a day until the resurrection. And at the resurrection, the cross of Jesus was used as the key to reopen the gates of paradise and allow some people, not all people, but some people, the people who wanted to follow Jesus, to be one with God, to enter paradise. So what are we saying here? Let's get a little bit deeper into this, and I do admit that I'm not a theologian. All I'm doing is translating as best I can in my average Greek what Geron Nektarios was saying in his vlog. So on the Easter Saturday, as we are informed by our church and by the scriptures and by the church fathers, Jesus' spirit, Jesus' soul, descends into Hades. And at that point we have a thing called the harrowing of Hades. There is an icon of the resurrection which is entitled the harrowing of Hades. And where we had the earthquake, the massive earthquake which split the curtain within the Temple of Solomon and all of those earthquakes which happened at that particular time was the harrowing of Hades, where Jesus, the light, descends into the place of darkness and floods Hades with his light, and not only floods Hades with his beautiful, magnificent light, he also forever destroys the gates of Hades by annihilating the doors, annihilating the locks, and tying up the demons who were holding all the souls as prisoners. And in the icon of the resurrection and the harrowing of Hades, you'll see Jesus raising both Adam and Eve, the first humans, the first people, the first marriage, and releasing them, the first sinners, from Hades. So what we're saying here is that by Jesus, by God descending into Hades, he went and preached to all of those souls that were enslaved in Hades and brought light. And for the first time they got to see each other and to feel his radiance, his love, his mercy. Because all souls that went to Hades went to this place of darkness, went to this place of separation, and by definition suffered because they couldn't be one with God, and they were in a place of torment, a place where the demons, where the devil had ownership of their soul. So with the opening of the gates of paradise, the reopening of the gates of paradise, we must remember that the gates of hell are still closed. They are closed and will reopen, of course, at the second coming of Jesus. So why is the Saturday, why is the time between the death of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus called the first resurrection, η πρώτη Ανάσταση. The reason why it's called the πρώτη Ανάσταση is because as Jesus descended into Hades and preached to all of those, both honourable, both good, and both evil, who were captives of Hades, as he preached to them, he destroyed the gates of Hades and opened the gates of paradise, as I mentioned before, and whoever listened to Jesus, whoever believed in him of those who were in Hades, were resurrected, and their souls were allowed to enter heaven. So the gates of heaven from the resurrection are open to those who first resurrected from Hades, who followed Jesus, follow his preaching to them, and also to the saints of the church, people who died after the resurrection, and other people who have lived saintly lives. The people who didn't follow Jesus at that first resurrection, at that harrowing of Hades, they will remain in a transition phase and wait for the second coming, where all of our bodies and souls will be resurrected. And just like in today's world, there are people who will go to paradise, people who are saints, people who have lived saintly lives, but the vast majority of us will go to this interim place, a place where we will receive a foretaste of paradise or hell, depending on the life that we've lived and whether or not we do indeed want to be one with God and one with Jesus. So a powerful concept, a powerful truth for all of us to consider, and it's something that not very many people are aware of. But as I say, through definition, if you're not one with God, then you are easy prey for Satan and for the demons and for the devils to take possession of your soul. So that is why it's called the first resurrection. And the other resurrection, or the key resurrection on the Sunday, is the resurrection of Jesus, who was resurrected both body and soul. There are only two people, from my understanding, in heaven who are there both body and soul: Jesus and the Virgin Mary, the Theotokos, are the only two people who are complete in heaven with their bodies and soul. And just like Jesus was resurrected with his body, it is not the physical body that we have, the body that feels pain, the body that needs to eat, the body that is stressed. It's our transfigured body which Jesus is able to transfigure. And at the second coming, my understanding is that our bodies will once again reunite with our souls, but in a transfigured form, and be either enter heaven, enter paradise, or enter hell. And for that reason, the Greek Orthodox and all Christians continue to pray for the souls of their loved ones, and to have memorial services, and to say the words Aeonia Imnimi, which basically means, and what we're basically doing is we're praying to God to remember our brothers and sisters at the second coming, to plead with God and to tell God that they are indeed worthy of being saved, because at the end of the day, we are all sinners. And for that reason, the Church has instituted and made available to us the sacrament of confession, so that we can confess our sins, we can confess our weaknesses, and we can have metanoia, we can have a change of heart, we can change our lives in a heartbeat. And what will happen, according to my understanding in the scriptures, is that at the second coming there will be a judgment, but we will be judged fairly, but based on our unconfessed and unrepented sins. So just because we confess our sins doesn't mean that we can't sin again, and often many of us continue to sin and do the same sin over and over. But that is our human frailty, that is a weakness, and that is exemplified by Adam and Eve. But we are given strength, we are given welcome to the fact that Jesus, when he descended into Hades, searched high and low for both Adam and Eve, and at the outer extremities of Hades, he could hear the whimpering, he could hear the crying, he could hear the pain and suffering that Adam had created, not only for himself, but all of his descendants. And for that reason, when Jesus raises Adam and Eve from Hades, they have a bent wrist, because they are basically saying to Jesus and acknowledging that they are sorry, that they seek forgiveness, and that they are unworthy. The bent wrist is a sign of submission to God, submission to Jesus, and an example for all of us to follow. So the word Pascha is a Jewish word which means Pesach, and the word Pesach means the passing of darkness to light. And on the Saturday of the resurrection, the day where Jesus descended into Hades, where all of the souls rest, or were resting, or normally rest, Jesus was able to bring light, was able to bring love, was able to bring his mercy to those who were there suffering, for all of those souls that were suffering in Hades. So I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to talk about, and it is indeed a very difficult and tricky topic, a tricky subject. As I say, I'm not a theologian, but I do trust and I do respect Elder Nektarios, Geron Nektarios, for he is a man of great gift who has spent his entire life living, loving, and spreading the good word. And he is a man who's able to take the complex, the difficult, and able to put it into words that can be understood by most people. So I do recommend his YouTube channel, Geron Nektarios. But what I love doing is taking his messages and translating them as best I can into the English language, and sending them, posting them on my YouTube platform, because on my YouTube platform, because my talk is in English, YouTube allows my English talk to have subscripts in I think, 17 or 18 other languages where unfortunately the artificial intelligence is unable to take Geron Nektarios' Greek version and translate it into any other language. So Geron Nektarios is great at being able to reach people who speak Greek, who speak good Greek, but what I'm able to do is to supplement and complement the great work of Geron Nektarios and to share his wonderful knowledge and his love to many other nations, to those who understand English or to those who can speak one of these 18 other languages. It's amazing the technology that we have, and it'll be a matter of time where my voice will be able to be dubbed with another voice, where the artificial intelligence will be able to take my voice and to translate it live into Chinese, into Arabic, into Portuguese, Spanish, French, Greek, and every other language that is on the planet, so that we can spread the good word, we can spread the great work that Geron Nektarios and all the great people who have come before him to those who are in need of love and in need of enlightenment. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this magnificent day from this beautiful city of Sydney, where I've been able to take a powerful, profound message, a message from Geron Nektarios, and pass it on to my friends and family and whoever else can benefit from it. Take care, everybody. Yassas. Bye for now. And Christos Anesti. Bye.